Yeah, going into goat production is not like pigs or poultry. As I said, that's one. It's not like the pig or poultry where you need full time to always be around to be monitoring. For the goats, whenever you feed, you can release them out. They can roam, go on pasture, then come back themselves. That is if you don't even have time for them. You can release them. They are not like any other animals. That is one important. So they are having less labor as compared to the pigs or the poultry. Not to sit down thinking I want to get huge amount of money before I'll be able to start. Any little you have, you can start. And don't think maybe I want to start with multiple animals. At least you can start with 2 or 3. That's if you have 2 females, 1 male. If you are able to manage and keep them properly, I think in a year time, you can get something out of it. They can multiply for you. Yeah, I'm Peter Mpli, the assistant farm manager of Sims Farms.
If somebody wants to start goat, what procedure the person need to know before starting goat?
Well, going into goat production or goat rearing is not like any other animals, whereby you need much or large capital to start up with. And then goats too are not like any other animals like pigs, which I can say they can give birth to plenty or kid plenty pig, kids. But we have some specific breeds that can give birth to two, some even give birth to 3. So whenever you are going to goat production like this, there is a lot of factors you have to consider. Likewise, in any other animal you want to rear, you have to consider the availability of the land. You have to also consider availability of water, whether there is water or source of water at where you want to start up your farm or your goat farm. You also have to consider the accessibility of the road to the farm, whether there will be easy accessing to the farm whenever there is a vehicle or motor coming into the farm. They also have to consider their housing and then their feeding too. So these are some of the factors you have to consider whenever you are going to goat production, because you can't go and buy any goat and come and live without housing it or without feeding it. When it happens, your production might decrease. So you have to consider all those factors. And there are some breeds too. When you are going to goat production, you have some specific breeds you have to look for. It's not any other breed you can just bring into your farm whenever you want to do production. We have some breeds like the Boagos, the Sahelian. They are very good breeds. So I will advise whenever you are going into goat production, you particularly based on these breeds. They are very good breeds. They can keep 2, 3, and then I think they are. If you start up with something like 20 or 25 within a year, you can get at least, if not, you can get something about 200.
200. Okay. So let's see about the housing. What house that is good for goat?
Yes, for goats in question, we do some do intensive system, some also do semi-intensive. When we talk of the semi-intensive, is by housing the animals. Let's say you provide a house for them. In the night, you keep them inside. Then daytime like this, you release the animals to go and feed. Then in the night, you bring them back. When we also talk of the intensive system, is whereby you keep solely the animals in the pen. You don't release them out. Then you have to be feeding them all the time in the pen.
Okay. So but goats, I don't know. The way you say water, are they drinking more water?
Yes, they also drink more water like any other animals. So you have to always provide water for them.
Okay, so how many goats that I can use to start?
Well, depending on your capital, you can start with 5, even 2 you can start with. But if you have more capital, you can also invest or purchase more.
Okay, so like the breed that you mentioned to us, are they expensive?
Yes, they are very expensive, especially the Boagos. They are very expensive.
Okay, so if you know that you go first share the price with us.
For the prices varies as it stands. I can't pinpoint and tell you this is the amount you can get to buy at markets.
Okay. So what about the food? What food they eat?
Yeah, for goats, they also eat. And if you are into goat production, they also need a balanced diet, like we human and then any other animals too. So whenever you have to formulate their feed too, you make sure you also have all the feed components, which is the minerals, the vitamin, fat and oil, carbohydrates, all these feed components. You mix them together and you formulate their feed for them. You can also be giving them these fresh leaves or fresh grasses. They can take that one too. Beside this feed too, we have cassava peel. You can be also supplementing with their feed.
Okay, so what about the alfalfa and this?
Yes, it is also good for them because it contains a lot of protein inside.
Okay, so the alfalfa you need to dry it or you need to give it to them as a fresh.
Well, you can give it fresh, but you can dry it too. You can even cut it and prepare hay for them. Maybe in the dry season when you can't get the fresh one, then you can be giving them the hay.
Okay. So how do you able to do the A? How to able to dry? How do you able to dry?
Yeah, in preparation of the hay, when you plant the grass before they get flowering, you don't allow it to flower before you start preparing. When they reach some stage and then you realize that maybe in a month or in a week's time they will start flowering, you have to cut the grasses, then you dry it in the sun. So it has some content. You don't completely dry it. It has some level you have to dry it up to, so that at least it can still contain some water moisture in it. Then you can ball it, tie it, and then you put it down.
Okay. For the dry season.
Yeah, for the dry season.
Okay. So what about the medication?
Yeah, medication too is very important. In every animal farming, medication is also important. And medications goes with their health. Yes, if you are keeping proper management, some farms they don't even like using the medications. That is if you are at the right place and you are at the right point. You don't need medication. But all still the same, you have to get medications. There are some medications you have to put in place to prevent certain disease. Commonly, we have a disease we call PPR, which normally affects goats. So such disease, every year you have to vaccinate the animals against such disease.
Okay. So do you deworm them at the way?
Yes, we do deworming too. Every 3 or 2 months, you have to deworm them, the animals too.
Okay. So goat, do you need to do record keeping?
Yes, you have to keep record on them.
So can you take out to the information that we need to do record?
Yes, when we come to record keeping on goats particularly, you can keep record on their birth, you can keep record on their health, you can keep record on their crossings too, and you can also keep record on the medication.
Okay. I know that when it comes to pig, you take the female to the male to cross.
Yes.
What about goat? If you want to cross her, how do you able to do it?
For the goat aspect, it's still the same thing. You don't mix the male and then the female together. You keep the male in different pen, the female ones to in different pen. So whenever you see that the male ones or the female one comes on heat, you rather take the female one to the male, but not the male to the female.
Okay.
for crossing.
Okay. So that one, are they inbreeding? Are they inbreeding inside?
No, that one there is not inbreeding, but in some farms they do inbreeding, which is not advisable.
Okay. So when you
That is what I'm saying. You don't keep them
yeah.
together. You separate the male from the female ones. So whenever you want to do crossing, you know that this particular animal is coming from this. That is when we come to the record keeping. When you keep the record, if you keep proper record, you should know that this animal is from this mother. This animal is from this mother. For that matter, you can't use this one to cross this. You can use this one to cross this.
Okay. So they are they coming on it?
Yes, they do come on heat.
So how do you able to identify this one's on it?
Yes, whenever it comes on heat, especially the female ones, you see in a pen where there is not a male one, the female one will be mounting on other female animals and then will also be making noise. You see the vulva become reddish and then the animal will also become restless.
Okay. So if you come on it take how long before they eat go?
That is, whenever it comes on heat, it takes 72 hours for the
2 hours.
yes,
That's
please.
three days.
For the
If you cause, how long it take before they will give birth?
well, in goats particular, it's a range from 140 to 145 days. The animal should be able to give birth if it's in good condition
Okay. So how long it take before they are mature to cause?
to cross. Yes, from 6 months, 7 months, you can begin crossing them if you are properly feeding them well.
Okay. How many months that is mature that it can
Slaughter
for slaughter for
from 6 months going, you
that one you
can
can do it?
slaughter for and process it into meat.
Okay, so if I have 10 female and I want to make them to give birth the same day, what can I do so that they can?
Yes, when you have 10 females and then you have, let's say you have 1 or 2 males, and you want all of them to give birth at the same day, we have something we call synchronization. You stimulate the animals to all come on heat at the same time. And that one depends on the feed you give them.
Wow. So how can you make they all come on eat on the same day?
Yes, that is what I said. It depends on the feed you prepare for them.
Okay.
If you are having a balanced diet and then there is some specific feed supposed to be given to them, like this one, when we started, we were having challenge with them, but we started preparing this pellet feed and then other feed ingredients. So as you can see now, they are looking healthy and then looking nice too. So when you will start giving them such feed, you stimulate their ovulations. So in doing that, you can just pick those ones maybe you want them to give birth or those that you want to breed in a particular pen or a particular room. Then you continuously with their feed to stimulate their ovulations so that they can all come on heat at the same time.
Okay.
Then you cross them.
So what's important of if they all come on eat the same time, they give birth the same time, what's the importance of it?
Yeah, the importance is you get a lot of birth and then your production is increasing.
So what's your daily routine?
Yeah, our daily routine here on the goats in particular is every morning when we wake up, you move around to inspect or to check individual animal to make sure they are not having any disease or they are all healthy. That is the first thing you should do whenever you wake up. So after checking to be sure your animals are not having disease, they are all healthy, there is nothing wrong with them, and you move ahead to clean in their pen. After cleaning, you come over to feed them. So maybe after feeding them in the pen around 8 to 9, 8:30 to 9 that way, when you see that the sun is coming or the sun has risen, you can open them. That's if you are doing semi-intensive system so that the animals will go on grazing. So whenever they go on pasture or grazing, you'll be monitoring them on pasture or whilst they are grazing. There may be evening time around 4:30 to 5, you bring them back, You put them in their pen. You ensure that all the animals that went out, they are all returned to the pen. So whenever they enter into the pen, you check them well again to be sure that all the animals are around, all the animals are back, and then no animal is having a disease before maybe you can give them the evening meal.
Okay, but I see that where they sleep, I see some red stuff for that. What is the name? What?
Yes, that is what we call mineral block or salt lick. So we normally hang it in the room for them to be licking. It's a salt.
Okay.
So it also added minerals to their feed or to their body.
Okay. So what disease that affect them?
We have a lot of disease that normally affect the goats. We have some disease like PPR, brucellosis, mange, and then other stuff of disease. There are a lot.
Okay. So what importance of somebody need to go into?
Yeah, going into goat production is not like pigs or poultry. As I said, that one is not like the pig or poultry where you need full time to always be around to be monitoring. For the goats, whenever you feed, you can release them out. They can roam, go on pasture, then come back themselves. That is if you don't even have time for them. You can release them. They are not like any other animals. That is one important. So they are having less labor as compared to the pigs or the poultry.
Okay. So how do you able to sell your product?
Yes, whenever we want to sell the goods, we normally advertise on our social media platforms like WhatsApp, the radio stations, and then Facebook and then YouTube. So whenever we advertise, we put our contacts also across. Then farmers call in for our products.
Okay. So your advice for somebody who want to start?
My advice for somebody who wants to start a goat production or goat rearing, I will advise the person not to sit down thinking I want to get huge amount of money before I'll be able to start. Any little you have, you can start. And don't think maybe I want to start with multiple animals. At least you can start with 2 or 3. That's if you have 2 females, 1 male. If you are able to manage and keep them properly, I think in a year time, you can get something out of it. They can multiply for you. Rather than maybe investing huge number and then you can't control, you can't take care of them. Then at the end, you'll be losing.
Okay. Okay. So your telephone number and location?
We are located in Basa, Oti region, precisely in Kwanta North. And our telephone number is 0544 965476. 0544 965476. Whenever you call, you reach us at Sims Farms.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Like the video, share and subscribe. What is this video?